It was still dark when the other traveler shook me awake to say that a truck was leaving the gas station for Mazatlan if I wanted a ride. Only pausing to say thanks, I climbed on the truck, an old, hard-used three-axle whose flatbed had been staked to carry a load of watermelons, piled 20 feet high above the road. There was only a hint of dawn as we climbed onto the highway, 2 lanes with no shoulder. We climbed briefly and then began descending steadily and steeply, hugging the twists and turns of a canyon trending north and west. It must have been no bone-numbing chill, but what I remember is exhilaration. The promised warmth of the lightening sky and the magnificence of the scenery, coupled with the thrilling conveyance, canceled cold. The dawn picked out and colored the canyon heights, gradually exposing the profound depths, and the 360-degree view changed with every lurch and sway of the truck's steep, tortuous descent, and, perched high above the road, every lurch and sway was magnified by thoughts of probably really old brakes under 60,000 pounds of watermelons. Thrilling. After a couple of hours, when the road flattened out and the air warmed up, I broke the comfortable silence to offer my fellow traveler some of the bread that I had had for breakfast. He told me his story. His name is Salvador, 17, though he may have added a couple of years, and he is the oldest of 8 children of a peasant family farming near a village in the southern state of Oaxaca. He says he left home about a week before with no money or possessions save the clothes he's wearing so that there would be more food for his siblings. He has the name of a cousin said to live in Tijuana and the name of another cousin reported to be a busboy in San Francisco. He was not sad or resigned to his fate, but was glad to be a man on destiny's road. Recently, I saw a movie called La Familia, and the opening scene was filmed where I rode the watermelons from the heights. A youth, the eventual patriarch in the movie, is forced by poverty to leave his family in southern Mexico and make his way to California with nothing more than a cousin's name. I love it when a movie entwines with my reality. It improves both the movie and the reality. In the early 1960s, I was an airman stationed in Chaumont, France, fresh from Delano, a small-town youth with a bad case of wants complicated by ignorance. I couldn't please myself because I didn't know what I liked, so I saw most of the movies that came to the base, and one was Tom Jones by director Tony Richardson. Based on the 18th century novel by Henry Fielding, it was a period piece of jolly old England, advertised as ribald and lusty. I can't recall the entire plot, but there's a scene where a man and a woman are dining at a traveler's inn that has been my pleasure to think of many times since then, though I only saw it that once, because the meal was a seduction. I had never thought of food as sensual until the camera pulled in close on the eyes, the mouth, the fruit, the tongue, the bite. Eating changed forever for me. All food is better and more nourishing. For instance, this last July, in the intense heat of high summer, I lay in the 8-foot diameter kiddie wading pool like a croc in an oasis, half-lidded eyes just out of the water, gazing and dreaming. A big, lush, purple-black fig called to me, and I sloshed out of the pool and I plucked it from the tree. It was softly ripe and huge, filling my cupped hands. I laid my thumbs on either side and rolled them apart, exposing the moist, pink flesh. The temperature had hit 105 for the prior 3 days, and the fig was body hot. Eyes closed, I buried my mouth in the split spread fig. The sunlight colored my eyelids and penetrated my skin with pulsing energy. Chewing, the taste and smell and texture and juice became palpable imaginings. People, places past and yet to be, mingled with sweet longing and the sensual pleasure of the immediate experience and the memory of that movie. That was some fig. This letter is almost at an end, at least my part of it, but there is poetry to be shared, and nothing is important, yet it all depends on your opinion. I've read that of all of Robert Frost's poems, there is only one he would never read for an audience, and you may see why, because I might cry when I do this. This poem is called Out, Out. The buzzsaw snarled and rattled in the yard, and made dust and dropped stove-length sticks of wood, sweet-scented stuff when the breeze drew across it. And from there, those that lifted eyes could count 5 mountain ranges, one behind the other, under the sunset far into Vermont. And the saw snarled and rattled, as it ran light or had to bear a load, and nothing happened. Day was all but done. Called it a day. I wish they had said, to please the boy by giving him the half hour that a boy counts as so much when saved from work. His sister stood beside them in her apron to tell them supper. At the word, the saw, as if to prove that saws knew what supper meant, leaped in the boy's hands, or seemed to leap. He must have given the hand. However it was, neither refused the meeting. But the hand! The boy's first outcry was a rueful cry, as he swung towards them holding up the hand, half in appeal, but half as if to keep life from spilling. Then the boy saw it all. Since he was old enough to know, big boy doing a man's work, though a child at heart, he saw all spoiled. Don't let him cut off my head. The doctor, when he comes, don't let him sister. So, but the hand was gone already. The doctor put him in the dark of ether. He lay and puffed his lips out with his breath, and then the watcher at his pulse took fright. No one believed. They listened to his heart. Little, less, nothing. That ended it. No more to build on there. And they, since they were not the one dead, turned to their affairs. In that last sentence, Frost seems to say it isn't important, yet every line written before evokes the sort of feeling that W.H. Auden writes of in, this is called Mourning, a mourning poem, mourning as in mourning sad. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone, silence the pianos, and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let airplanes circle moaning overhead, scribbling in the sky the message, he is dead. Put crepe bows around the white necks of the public doves, let traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east, my west, my working week, my Sunday rest, my moon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would live forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put out every one. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean. Sweep up the wood. For nothing now can ever come to any good. That's powerful, but Auden also wrote, this is the Musée des Beaux-Arts. About suffering, they were never wrong, the old masters. How well they understood its human position. How it takes place while someone else is eating or opening a window or just walking dully along. How, when the aged are reverently, passionately waiting for their miraculous birth, there must always be children who did not especially want it to happen, skating on a pond at the edge of the woods. They never forgot that even the dreadful martyrdom must run its course anyhow in a corner, some untidy spot where the dogs go on with their doggy life and the torturer's horse scratches his innocent behind on a tree. In Bruegel's Icarus, for instance, the plowman may have heard the splash, the forsaken cry, but for him it was not an important failure. The sun shone as it had on the white legs disappearing into the green water, and the expensive, delicate ship must have seen something amazing, a boy falling out of the sky. They had somewhere to go, and it sailed calmly on. I include a copy of Bruegel's wonderful painting, but I circle the legs disappearing into the sea because, as Auden says, there's no more important in the picture than in lives. To put this in a different perspective, I will close with this Ojibwa prayer. Sometimes I go around pitying myself when all the time I'm being carried by great winds across the sky. Well, that's so true. With peace and love, Eric. And I'm going to go get the picture of Bruegel's, of that. But check this out. This is the picture, and there's the boy falling from the sky.
Show in front of the camera?
Sure. Let me see.
You bring it closer. Very close. Closer. Down. To the there you go. Down. Right there. Stay there.